Welcome to Kristi's Cropping and Creating. My name is Kristi Bolin, and I am a Creative Memories Advisor in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I started my YouTube channel in 22, but I didn't start adding to it consistently until 2023. And then Christmas came along, and I had some other things go on in January that kind of made me not stay consistent with updating my YouTube channel. But I am back. This is my second episode. I had one air last week, and I'm having this one air this week. And I'm so glad that you joined me. I hope that you will continue to watch each and every week and tell your scrapping friends, your creative friends, and please come and join my subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll get notified when I do add a new idea. Now, today I'm going to do something a little bit risky. I am going to create a border. I do have a sample to show you, but the border that I'm going to create today is going to be from 4 papers, whereas the sample I did 2 papers. And sometimes it's no big deal to just, change things up a little bit, but it's risky because since I've not done with 4 papers, it might just not turn out right. So you're just going to have to ignore it if it doesn't turn out 100% correct, because there is a saying that goes that there are no mistakes in scrapbooking. Okay. All right. If you do not have a Creative Memories advisor, you can reach out to me. I know this is a little bit hard to see, but you can order from my website, creativememories.com/user/KRISTIBOLIN. And if you want to email me, you can email me at KRISTIBOLIN@gmail.com. If you like the things that I teach, you can ask me in an email about subscribing to Kristi's Croppers subscription group. I do a weekly class, and it is recorded. It starts at 7:30 on Wednesdays, but if you can't be live, you can watch the event at your convenience. And we just have a nice little cohesive group of scrappers that get together on Wednesdays to learn new ideas and techniques. I'm going to stop talking. Well, not really, but I'm going to get started with the idea. I'm going to be using the You Graduated papers as well as black and white, This Life black and white. So these are the 4 papers that I'm going to use to create my border. I'm going to use black cardstock as my base pages. You can use scrapbook pages to put your design on, and or you can use cardstock or designer paper, but this is what I'm going to use. And I'm going to use this white shimmer as the base for my border strips. And I'm going to tell you a couple of ideas about different ways to turn these pages. So here are my papers. I didn't completely decide. It's possible I would use the back of one of them, but I think for what I'm doing, only these 2 would work on the reverse side. And plus, I just really like the boldness of all of these designs anyway. And here is what we're going to create. Really simple. Of the fractured card and the fractured page were pretty popular earlier this year. And this isn't really that. It's just that this kept coming up in my mind, wondering how it would work. And to be completely truthful, I didn't end up creating this the way I thought I was going to, but I decided that the way I wanted to do it might be a little more complicated than what I had time to actually realize in my schedule for when I'm recording and when it's going to air and all of that. So instead of it just being 2 alternating papers, we're going to alternate 4, and we are going to build 2 borders instead of just this one. Okay, so to get started, you're going to want a 2-inch wide base. So on my sample, it's just white cardstock. My actual bases are going to be the white shimmer, but it does need to be 2 inches wide, and I have already cut this. Now, I'm sure you can probably go ahead and do wider or more narrow, but my measurements are going to be for the my measurements are going to include it being just the 2-inch wide base. Okay, I'm going to cut 2 papers at the same time. This is going to be 1.5 inches times 1.5 inches wide and 12 inches long. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said times as if we're doing multiplication. I do not enjoy math personally, and I started lining it up on my right hand side, excuse me, my left hand side, but I'm going to use that right hand side because it really is easier to hold your paper when you've got a smaller cut. You've got more to hold over here. So I am cutting 2 papers at the same time. I'm cutting them at 1.5 by 12. And now I have 2, but I'm going to go ahead and get my other 2. And line them up at the 1.5, stacked neatly. Honestly, the only thing this is doing by cutting them at the same time is, number 1, it's saving me time, but number 2, it is also preserving my mat a tiny bit, because your mats do wear out over time. As a matter of fact, it's pretty much time for me to flip to my 3rd row. So you don't need these again right now. However, I'm probably going to use some as photo mats in the end. So I am going to sit it close by so that I can work with it in a little bit. Now, I think 4 papers are not too thick to cut at the same time for designer papers. Cardstock, it might be. But truthfully, I'm a little bit afraid to cut 4 of them at the same time, since we do want some precise cuts. So I'm just going to cut 2 at a time. And our first cut is going to be with our paper lined up on the 45-degree angle. We're going to have the tip on the cut line of our 12-inch trimmer, and we're just going to cut that off to get started with our first cut. And you do need to make sure that you went through both layers. And after I get that, I probably don't have to do this, but since I've got my pre-cut borders laying here already, I'm going to just go ahead and start laying them out. And then I'm going to move on to my next step. Now, let me find my ruler real quick, because I created my sample a few days ago and I didn't remind myself before I started my video how I did this. So I'll probably need this ruler more than once. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it over here. So the next thing you're going to do is cut your next cut is going to be at 1 3/4 inches. And so I'm going all the way to the let's see, 1, there's a half. Yeah. So I'm going to the last line that is on my trimmer. And you're still using the 45-degree angle line to line it up right there. And you're gonna just cut through. And again, you can start placing. However, remember I told you I'm doing 4 papers, and right now I'm only working with 2. So I am gonna need to switch it up here in just a moment. Actually, I'm gonna cut, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut one more with this, and then I'm gonna switch to my next set of papers. Let's see, that is 1 1/4. So go this time, line up your paper on the 1 1/4 inch and the 45-degree angle line and make a cut. Let's see. I'm just trying to keep it straight with how I'm going about adding these down the page. All right, so I've got my other 2 papers stacked together. My tip is on the point of my strip is on the cut line, and it's lined up along the 45-degree angle line. I'm going to cut through, and I am going to put this at the bottom, go in the opposite direction, and I'm going to end up mixing up some of those in just a moment. But this first cut, instead of cutting it really wide like this one, I'm going to start with this the smallest piece that I had done ahead of time. At least I think it is. And I'm going to cut this at 1 inch. So 1 inch and along the 45-degree angle line. Oh, and I had moved a little bit, so I'm glad I checked that. Yeah, it's not quite as narrow as I had thought it was. So I'll have to double check that in just a second. Oops, I can't get them undone here. Let's see. I'm going to put this one here, this one here, and I'm going to take this down to a 1/2 inch, maybe. And I really, really, really wish I would have written notes that I did not write. Actually, that one's going to be thinner than I thought, so maybe I should go to 3/4. I think that's what I'll do. I'll go to 3/4. So we're going to cut this one at 3/4 inch along the 45-degree angle line. And now I need to move my trimmer and really start seeing if this is going to come together the same way the sample did, since I'm using 4 papers instead of 2. Let me move my trimmer just a sec. All right, my device just did something funny. Sorry about that. All right, so I am going to mix it up somehow. I don't really know what all I'm going to change yet. I think one of the problems is I'm missing a piece, meaning there are 8 pieces along through here. At least I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I've only got 6 on each side right now. So I will need to cut some more pieces in a few minutes. So let's see how I can mix this up. I'm trying to avoid having identical pieces side by side, and then I'm also trying to avoid having the same sizes side by side. But see right here, I don't have it right yet. So let me get my second set of papers. I think is the one that I have the fewest cut out of. Let me double check that. There's 1, 2. Okay, so I'm going to make another cut of this, and I'm going to make this one at, oh, actually, let me count that again. So 1, 2. See, I told y'all this might mess me up by not doing it ahead of time. My eyes are going crazy trying to count these. All right, there's 1, 2 on there, and 1, 2. So I only cut 2 of those. That doesn't make sense. I know I cut 3. Okay, I see what I did. I did cut 3. So 3 of those, and then this one I cut 1, 2. I don't know. I don't know what I've done, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut this one at 1.5 inches. I don't think I did one of the others in 1.5 inches, but either way, I'm going to have it lined up along my 45-degree angle line. This will still be a bigger piece, but hopefully not 100% sure right now, but hopefully it is different papers than what I did in the first one. And if not, we've got plenty of paper, and I can always go back down to just the 2 and increase or decrease my measurements any way that I need to. So let's see if I take that one down there, put this one up here. I feel like I'm needing more of this that has the gold in it than I only because, you know, that's the only one that has all 3 colors. So maybe I should have chosen another paper that also had some gold in it instead of just the blacks and the whites with just the occasional gold. So, and then also I've got 3 of those, and that means 2's on one and 1's on the other. So that kind of messes it up. 1, 1, 2, 3. So I've got a lot of the dot. 1, 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 of the stripe. 1, 2, 3. So I've only got 3 of these. And I'm trying to decide, what do I want to change? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I'm still missing a piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Okay. So, if I cut another of this, I think that will help even me out a little bit. And as long as I didn't make my cuts too big, or if I make this one small enough, it's still going to fit in a similar way to the way the sample is. So I want to do a definitely I want to do a smaller cut, and the smallest that I cut over here, I believe, was 3/4 of an inch, and I could do a 1/2 inch, but I'm a little afraid that it will be too small. So I am gonna do another 3/4 inch cut. And I know that if y'all want to recreate this, as much as I've kind of talked back and forth on creating it, you're probably gonna need to start the video from the beginning and write notes, but write it in pencil, because you'll notice that I say I'm gonna do one thing and then I change it up and do another, and end up just changing the order or whatever of how I am trying to make this work. I apologize. I didn't mean to come in unprepared. And it wasn't really unprepared. I just should have tried to do it with 4 papers before I tried to teach it with 4 papers. That's what I should have done. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so each of them have 8 pieces, just like my sample did. And although My sample has apparently different measurements. I am gonna, if I'm happy, once I look up at my screen to see what I'm seeing here, if I'm happy with this arrangement, I'm just gonna start laying them out. And I do use repositionable adhesive. It's just the easiest for me. I absolutely love it. And hopefully you can see over here, I'll be putting it on my papers with my silicone mat in case I get, go off the edge. This doesn't have holes in it or anything. I just want to try to not get it on the edge of, or I don't want to get it on my mat anywhere. All right, now your border, your base is 2 inches, and these are 1.5 inches. So you should have a 1/4 inch matting on either side. And I'm looking at that point, and that's at the 1/4 inch. And hopefully when I move my finger, this piece over here will be at the 1/4 inch. So I'm going to stick that down. And I did go ahead and put adhesive on 2 of them at the same time. Hopefully I can build this fairly quickly. Both of them at the same time. Oops. See, that's why I like repo, because it's just easier to reposition things if you need to. Now, I don't, I'm not a fan of, well, it's not that I'm not a fan of, I have not mastered editing. So I apologize that you're going to want to be playing some Jeopardy music while you're watching me adhere these borders. Try to keep your spacing the same. If it's really important to you to have it exact, then by all means, get out your zero centering ruler and make sure that the gaps in between each angle is the same. I'm making sure my lines are straight down through here. Technically, you could even make a pencil line going down through there on both sides or either side, so that you know for sure you're getting it straight. I'm just barreling along. And I know that when I started adhering, I said I was going to do 2 at the same time, but when I realized that was going to be more difficult than my hands could handle right now, I just decided to do the 1. I have a really big goal to increase my, oh, see, this one's too big. I've got my spacing wrong somewhere. I have a really big goal to increase my subscription group, or my YouTube subscribers list. I'm not saying it right. So if you will help me get to grow my subscription, I would really appreciate it. Oh man, see, I didn't see that I was going off the edge. Once again, another reason to do this ahead of time. I'm going to have to move everything up ever so slightly, and that's because I didn't write down my measurements from my sample. If I had done that, then I would have known how I needed to be. I think what I did is I made each cut, I think I cut my pieces a 1/4 inch smaller each time. And then I didn't remember that from the time I made my sample to the time I started this video. And then also, I might be wrong. Maybe I went down a 1/2 inch for each cut. But I was cutting the 2 papers at the same time, just like I did in this video. And And in this case, I'm doing 4 papers to build 2 borders, but still, I think I've messed up somewhere. Okay, I think this one will work, except for now I have that stuck on my hand. So, what's not working out exact is that I'm right along the bottom edge of this border. Now, it's not the end of the world because, like I said, there's this little saying that explains that there's no mistakes in scrapbooking. One thing I could do is maybe start at the bottom and the top at the same time. Let's see how that'll work out. Build from the bottom and build from the top, and then the middle ones will kind of get centered. That's what I meant when I said build from the bottom and the top at the same time. But I'm going to go ahead and put this one along this bottom edge since that one is along that bottom edge. And then we'll start going back and forth and see how that works out. Sometimes it's hard to get your fingers on them. And hopefully, even though I'm having to move things around, this will still be a video that's not too terribly long, because probably you would much rather be scrapbooking than watching somebody scrapbook, right? I'm just nestling them close, and I'm also hoping that I'm getting them straight in terms of, the left and the right margins. I believe, yes, this one is the last one. Come on, that I have to adhere. And boy, I do have a margin in between them, but it is ever so tiny right there. So I may have to readjust this one. So as you can see, I did a pretty good job spacing them evenly with just the 2 colors. And because I knew what my measurements were and all that, one of the things that I was thinking originally, let me get my base pages. One of the things that I was thinking when I created this was for this border to go down along the side. But when I couldn't sleep last night, something else occurred to me. I think that I too often put my borders going along the sides. And like I said, when I couldn't sleep last night, I thought, what about if instead of going along the side, what if we have them going across the top? And then it could be like a banner area or a title area for for whatever we want to say. So let's see, let me go back this way, because this is the one that's right at the edge and that's the one that's right at the edge. So if I meet those like that, I like this. I like that it's a header, and even if you don't like physically put a written title on this, because of with it being printed papers, it might be hard to see like even your ABC letters. It still makes a big statement that you've got something nice going on this page. This could work for New Year's Eve. This could work for graduations. This could work for anniversary celebrations. The fancy dinners that you go to on cruises. I think that this would work for any of those events. And then if you make your photo mats, with one or more of the papers. And I'm thinking I like these two papers best because the black on the black, I don't know. Actually, the polka dot would work, but I think that this one with the little cross hatches, I think it's too black, but this one would work. So you can make some photo mats with these. And actually, I will go ahead and do that. I'm going to make my photo mats at least 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, so that you still see the mat behind your photo once you place it. So let me do, I could do 4 1/2, but I'm going to do 4 1/4. And I'm going to make as many as I can from the 3 papers. So not all of them will be 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, because you can't do 6 1/4 twice on that 12-inch strip. And I never can remember that measurement. What is it that it's going to come out to? 5 3/4 maybe. Let's see what happens after I do this. Put those back over to the side. So this is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and it leaves me with, yes, 5 3/4. So that will be an emergency mat if I need it, because you would definitely have to trim one side of your photo to get it to fit on that mat properly. And of course, I could also trim it down so that it would be the right size for a 3 1/2 by 5 1/2 photo. Actually, it might not. Let's see if I can find those mats that I have pre-cut that are 3 1/2 by 5 1/2. It's not blah, 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 blah. It's not exact, but it's not perfect. It would need some trimmed for it to be the same 1/8 of an inch border. But anyway, so that's just to show you that it can work. Oh, I'm turning things over on my desk. Let me straighten that up real quick. So I've only got these 3, but if you use these 3 and then you I'm trying to decide where I want things to go. So if you use the 3 and then come back in with the smaller mats, I think you can make it work. Why is that one not the same size? Oh, because it's one of the bigger ones. That's why. Yeah, that's the bigger one. This is the smaller one. And then that's the big one. This is the small one. I think I like both of those horizontal. So something like this, I think you could make your page, make it work on your page, on your layout, and it would be fun. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I rarely actually get pictures adhered to the layout, and I always or almost always do not show embellishments and sticker placement and stuff like that, because I feel like I want to get my pictures on the project and then know exactly where I want those things to go. But hopefully you like this, and hopefully you will tune in next time when I will do another video and show you an idea either that I've created on my own, or that I took something from a virtual crop sketch or from somebody else to help teach maybe an easier way to do something, and just go from there. Y'all have a great weekend. I know the weekend is coming, and so I hope that you have a great weekend, and I think it's going to be Mother's Day. So don't forget, if your mom is still alive, to honor her for bringing you into this world. And if your mom is not still alive, hugs to you. I lost my mom when I was 15, so I know that it is hard sometimes to face holidays like that. But now I'm just rambling. So anyway, y'all take care. Enjoy this layout. Go create it, and next time I'll try to be sure to have better measurements and things so that I don't mess up when I'm trying to create something on camera. All right. Thanks and have a great day.